able to recognize your feeling and validate your feeling, you will find that you no longer feel bad about feeling bad, and the anxiety is just way easier to manage. Key point number 1 is to let yourself be anxious. This might sound very counterintuitive. You might be like, why would I want myself to be anxious? So hear me out. I'll give you an example of when I first started working as a baby therapist. So that was my very first in-person session in my entire life, and my client was American. I was so scared, so nervous. Even when I was explaining confidentiality, my throat slowly closed. It's like I couldn't talk anymore. And then I was like, oh shit, I start to feel panic about my anxiety. And everything just gets worse from there. There is nothing wrong about being anxious. Anxiety is a very normal emotion. But the problem is, a lot of time we start to feel anxious about anxiety, and we just aggravate it. The anxiety becomes 100-fold bigger and stronger. And here we want to understand there's a difference between our primary emotion and our secondary emotion. A very classic metaphor we use is called an iceberg metaphor.
So this is an iceberg, and primary emotion is under the water. It's what we actually feel about a situation, which is anxiety about speaking a new language, or feeling insecure about ourselves, or worried about being judged. And what we usually see is what is above the sea line. We call it a secondary emotion. And in this case, it's feeling anxious about being anxious, feeling panicked because I'm anxious.
And feeling anxiety is a very normal reaction. We all have anxiety in our everyday life. And especially if you're working or speaking a second language in the work setting, of course you're gonna feel anxious, right? But the worst part is when you start to feel anxious about the anxiety. Then the anticipation starts to make everything just worse. And the solution is very simple. You just recognize it and you validate it. By recognizing it, I mean you really ask yourself, what is the feeling I'm experiencing right now? And you label it using the word, I am feeling the emotion of anxiety in this case. And then we validate it. We tell ourselves that it's normal as a human being speaking a second language that I just don't feel confident enough about. I'm allowed to feel anxious in this moment. And if you find it hard to validate your own experience, you can think of it as, what will my best friend or my grandma, a family member that I love, tell me at this moment when I'm feeling anxious? If you're able to recognize your feeling and validate your feeling, you will find that you no longer feel bad about feeling bad, and the anxiety is just way easier to manage.